You're listening to the Kathie Owen podcast. I am your host, Kathie Owen, certified fitness trainer, life coach, motivational speaker, and founder of the Silver Wellness Academy, where we teach all about habits, success habits, wellness habits, thought habits, and relationship habits. Be sure to visit www.kathieowen.com for more information and sign up for my free, simple habit building course. Get started today, transforming your life in magic fashion. Today, we're going to talk about responsibility. Why does it get such a bad rap, and what to do when you transform your life in magic fashion? Today, we're going to talk about responsibility and how it affects your habits and your life totally. Before we talk about responsibility, I'm going to go over the theory that my therapist, Sherry, came up with. This theory is so awesome and it applies to everything in general. It's just so cool. So picture this. You have a triangle, and at the top of the triangle, you have what is called the victor. And the victor works with universal source, God, infinite intelligence, whatever you call it. At the bottom of the triangle on both sides are either victim or victimizer. And in general, in life, you're either, if you're not feeling totally satisfied, you're either in victim or you're in victimizer. So picture this. You're in an argument with somebody and there's a victim and there's a victimizer. And what happens in those arguments is there's a circle 8 that goes back and forth between each one. So picture any argument you've had in the past. And there's going to be a victim and there's going to be a victimizer. So the victimizer will pick at the victim. What happens with the victim is the victim comes over and starts victimizing because they get so tired of being a victim that they come and jump at you with victimizer. Oh no, not a good thing. So how do you get out of that? The main thing I have learned in life in general is to get out of either victim or victimizer, you take responsibility 100% of the time. Okay, Kathie, that doesn't sound too easy. Well, we start with little things on the responsibility stages of life, and you build the power up. And then eventually you get to a place where you're no longer in victim and you're no longer in victimizer. You draw boundaries there. You can also your boundaries are set by you. You can set the boundaries. You give your power away when you don't set boundaries. So that's what happens. So I don't know when this episode's going to come out, but if it comes out before I talk about reality transurfing or after, it really doesn't matter, because I quit talking about reality transurfing because of the way I have a blog post on it already, and I'll put a link in the show notes. But the way the author of the book and his little American protege have totally monopolized the title reality transurfing when it's free information. It's a book that was written. And honestly, I believe the book was channeled. So it goes across the board on any spiritual teaching that I have learned. They all have elements in common. So the other day, Reality Transurfing had an episode on their channel about how this Vadim's protege, how she went into an induced transition. And when an induced transition is when you get sucked down into victim. That's all it is. You get sucked down into victim. A lot of times that getting sucked down into victim comes from victimizing someone else, because you're going to go in that circle 8. You're going to go from victimizer down to victim. So when she was talking about going into the induced transition or going down into victim mentality, she was talking about how a pendulum caught her first thing in the morning and she was really upset about something. We can all relate to that because you just get information, it comes to you, and you just you go down into victim. So I got to thinking, and she teaches it really well from a reality transurfing aspect, but there's one huge element that's missing in this, because I really think that this protege person, the person that does reality transurfing, doesn't take responsibility for the things that they put into the world, which is usually what happens with a victim. They don't take responsibility for what they put out there. So I'm very, very understanding of narcissistic personality disorder just from everything that I've been through. So I look at it like this. I'm like, we all possess narcissistic tendencies. And a narcissistic tendency is to be a victimizer. And when you victimize for so long, you're going to go to victim unless you take responsibility for your actions. One thing I don't like about I don't even know if I don't like it. It's just, I think it's closed-minded, is the fact that the reality transurfing protege or the channel in total doesn't look at other modes of learning spirituality. Because to me, it takes up bits and pieces of everything. Like my spirituality takes up pieces of Christianity. It takes up pieces of Buddhism. It takes up pieces of reality transurfing. I use what Eckhart Tolle teaches. I also use what Deepak has taught, Deepak Chopra, Neville Goddard for sure. And I have studied A Course in Miracles. I've taken the whole book, the lessons. I've read everything. A Course in Miracles probably covers everything across the board, 100%. And it's about, A Course in Miracles is about the most holistic thing that teaches spirituality in general, because it's not closed-minded. It's not, and I wouldn't even say reality transurfing is closed-minded, but reality transurfing is missing this element of responsibility. So responsibility gets a bad rap because it's almost like a shame word. Oh, you got to be responsible for this, or you're going to get in this, or you got. So there comes that victimization, okay? A victimizer. So I love A Course in Miracles, how they explain responsibility. I want you to think of a beautiful sunset, a beautiful area where you're at. Just a beautiful scenery. Just go to a peaceful moment and just think about that totally. Get it in your mind. Now, once you get that in your mind, I want you to take responsibility for every little thing you see. The beautiful seashells, the beautiful sun, the rays, the lights, the water, the smell, the feels, everything. That is what responsibility is. When you see a beautiful sunset, you're responsible for seeing that because you're the one taking it in. Now, that's easy to take responsibility for because that's beautiful. What's hard to take responsibility for is when things suck, just in general. It's hard to take responsibility for it. You know, Eddie and I watch ID channel like crazy. And I'm a person who really doesn't like to watch much TV, but I watch these shows and I analyze the people in there and where they are in their mindset. It's 100% mindset. They are either in victim or they're the victimizer, because there's a victimizer, the one that's murdering and killing and doing all the mean, awful, horrible things. And then there's the victim. And the shows always play on all of these different aspects. I mean, they'll bring in every gory detail and you can feel yourself in this reality. Well, there's an element that's missing, and it's responsibility, because you're responsible for what you see. You're responsible for what you allow in your mind. And when you take this responsibility and you take full responsibility for everything looks totally different. So go back to that sunset, go back to that beautiful scenery, and I want you to remember that when I'm reading this, because A Course in Miracles says, and I'm reading this from A Course in Miracles, when you read these statements I'm about to read, you mean it with no reservations. And this is the only thing you need to do for vision, happiness, release from pain, and complete escape from sin. So sin in A Course in Miracles means you're missing the mark. You're missing the point. You're missing the element. Okay? So here's how A Course in Miracles teaches responsibility. And remember, you're supposed to mean this without any reservations, which means here's the easy way to do it. Take that sunset, okay? Take that vision and then read this. I am responsible for what I see. I choose the feelings I experience, and I decide upon the goal I would achieve. And everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for and receive as I have asked. Whoa. So that's easy to take responsibility for that beautiful sunset and say, wow, that's nice. But let's go to a hard one. You've been unkind to somebody. You've told them that you are the expert and you're the only one that knows this and you're the only one that can have all this information that goes with my book. How is that being kind? How is that taking responsibility for your world? So when you don't take responsibility for the way you treat others and you're not kind, what happens is it's just a balance. It's a balance, a life in balance. Balancing forces in reality transurfing. That's all it is. It's a balance, and it's bringing everything into balance. So take responsibility for what you see, and everything is as I wish it would be. I go back to an argument you have with somebody, because we all do this. We all have arguments with our spouses, our friends, our relatives. It's just human nature. So somebody's coming at you and they're victimizing you. This happens to me a lot because I am a very non-combative person. I don't believe in confrontation. I have a difficulty with that. Of course, that's one of my limiting beliefs. But I do struggle with confrontation. but I accept responsibility for my part in that. So when somebody comes at me like that mountain lion and is victimizing me, I draw boundaries. Sometimes my boundaries can be too hard to where they can't even get in, but I start to take responsibility for my part in this. So I go, okay, why is this person pouncing me? Why are they victimizing me? What did I do that caused this to happen? Because when you come to your responsibility and you come to realize why this person is victimizing you, you go, oh, I know. For example, with me and Eddie, we'll have an argument and I'm like, okay, he's telling me I'm doing this, but really and truly, he's feeling neglected or in some way. And I have to take responsibility for how I did that. And then when I do that, the whole scene looks different because I start to look at it from the other person's point of view, even though they're victimizing and picking and picking and picking at me. Oh, okay. Well, now I see why. And if once you do that, you step the steps up to your power steps up to victor. That's where we want to remain, is in victor, but human nature brings us down into this circle 8 pattern of victim and victimizer. So in Renee's example where she was talking about the induced transition, she was talking about the pendulum pulling her down. Somebody was in a bad mood the other day and everything just started going up and up and up. And then she got really bad news in the morning. And then she didn't let it ruin her whole day because she started to identify the pendulum was pulling her. She started to identify the places she started falling down. But the one thing that she didn't acknowledge was where she took responsibility in that. She was blaming the pendulum and she was blaming others around her that were bringing her down. But if you take responsibility, like A Course in Miracles teaches, you're going, oh, okay, I see where I did that. So let's say it's a rainy day and you don't like rain and you just don't like anything about it. Well, take responsibility for what you see and everything is as you wish it would be. And you'll see that a rainy day really isn't bad. We have to have rain to get water for our resources. And rain is just part of living on planet Earth. You can't just go, oh, I'm entitled to no rainy days. If you didn't have rainy days, you wouldn't appreciate the beautiful days. So in a nutshell, responsibility does get a bad rap. But really, is it so bad? I mean, really. I used to follow a lady who taught Course in Miracles. I can't remember her name, but she had really great lessons and everything on her podcast. And it was so cool because she had this saying, she goes, it rhymed. I can't remember exactly how it went. So something like this. Everything is as I wish it would be. Everything is as I see. It just had to do with this reading that I just read you in A Course in Miracles. So ask yourself for the next few hours or whatever, where are you taking responsibility in your life? Where are you passing the buck? Where are you where are you living in victim and everything is in victim, icky, yucky? Or where are you living in victimizer, where you're picking at others and you're too worried about others instead of worried about yourself and victor and being kind and putting kindness into the world? Because when you put greed into the world, that's what you're going to get. And that's what they're doing. I hate to say this because I really do appreciate reality transurfing and I appreciate that, but there's an element in there of greed where they're going, oh, this is my material, this is my teaching, I'm the only one that's allowed to talk about this, you're going to have to start trademarking it. because this is this and this. Like I said in my blog post about it, where I had to affiliate. I have an affiliate link that goes back to her course, but I have to put that in anything that I talk about reality transurfing. I guess in a good light, because this ain't so good, so they're probably not going to do it to me here. But like I've talked to others who have been victimized by them. It's a free source. It's a book. It's not like you set a course out and you said, this is updated material. I mean, I hate it for Aaron Dowdy because he's the one that I learned about reality transurfing from. He's the one that was probably who a lot of people first found out about it. And if it wasn't for him, the book would not be as popular as it is today. I promise you. And so what they've done is they blacklisted Aaron. And I'm like, why the hell would you do that? Why the hell would you do that? That's just wrong on so many levels. Because, you wouldn't, like I said in my blog post too, you wouldn't hear Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra. You wouldn't hear them saying, oh, don't teach my material because I wrote this book. That's just asinine. You're shooting yourself in the foot, number one. Number two, you're being greedy. That just has greed written all over it. And you're hurting people in the process. And it's 100% not kind. Just to go out of your way to blacklist somebody who promoted your book. I don't know. I mean, I've never, they don't talk about it. It's kind of a hush-hush deal. Like when they kicked Bootsy Greenwood out of the group and outed him. Nobody was allowed to talk about it. Nobody was allowed to say why or how that would happen. I don't get it. Basically, bottom line, somebody's not taking responsibility. That's what it is in a nutshell. Somebody's not taking responsibility in there. And it just breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that has to be that way. And that's why I quit talking about reality transurfing, because that is not kind. It's just not kind. And honestly, it's really not even a reality transurfing way to be. It's just not, because they're also losing sight of the fact of the boomerang effect that's in reality transurfing, that everything you put out, you get back. So it's just the same thing as in Christianity. You reap what you sow. You're sowing that. That's responsibility. Okay, I'm sowing this crop and I am responsible for what happens to it. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. And you want to go through and plant all your seeds and then start digging them up. Why would you do that? You're just going to mess up your crop. So, I don't know. Along the lines, with responsibility and reality transurfing, it's my world is always taking care of me. But you can't go, my world is always taking care of me, even though I'm treating so-and-so like crap and I'm doing this and I'm going to be the exclusive person to talk about this and promote a group and tell them to all go, and your followers to all go and go talk about this and go into this group and go into this group, because that's what she was doing. She's making them go into groups, and she goes into Leora Alexandra's group, and Leora is a good friend of Aaron's. Oh, but you can go in there and promote reality transurfing, but Aaron's not allowed to talk about it. What the fuck? I'm sorry for the bad word. But really, there's something wrong with that. That's mean and it's cruel. And the thing is, Leora is so big, she probably doesn't even realize that that's being done in her group. She probably doesn't care either. Good for her. But where's the kindness in all that? Where's the responsibility? I don't know. Give it some thought. Tell me what you think. Let me know. And that's my episode for today. Go out there and transform your life in magic fashion. That's my podcast for today. I appreciate you joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And until next time, I'll see you next time. Peace out and namaste.